The buyer's hand was reaching for the pen when I pushed through the glass doors. Inside Grandma Rose's boutique, my cousin Vanessa froze mid-sentence. The real estate agent looked confused, and the woman from that corporate clothing chain stopped smiling. I was holding my phone in one hand and Grandma's handwritten will in the other. "This sale is cancelled," I said. "This boutique isn't hers to sell." Vanessa's perfectly painted lips curved into that smile she always used when she wanted to intimidate me. "Olivia, sweetie, this is a private business meeting. You need to leave." I didn't move. "The business meeting where you're selling my boutique for $300,000? That business meeting?" The real estate agent, a nervous-looking man in his 50s, cleared his throat. "I'm sorry, but Miss Vanessa Hartwell provided all the ownership documents. The boutique is registered in her name as of 6 months ago. That's because she committed fraud," I said. I placed Grandma's will on the vintage display table. "This is Rose Bennett's last will and testament, notarized 3 weeks before she died. It leaves the boutique, all inventory, and the commercial property to me, not Vanessa." The buyer from Style Mart Corporate stood up. "I'm not interested in getting involved in a family dispute." "Smart choice," I said. Vanessa's smile disappeared. She grabbed the will, her acrylic nails scratching against the paper. Her face went white as she read it, then read. "This is fake. Aunt Rose would never cut me out. I was like a daughter to her. You visited her twice in 5 years," I said. "I was there every Sunday for dinner, every Tuesday when the boutique closed early, every holiday, every birthday, every chemo appointment." The agent was gathering his papers. "Miss Hartwell, if there's a dispute about ownership—" "There's no dispute," Vanessa snapped. "Olivia is having a breakdown. She's been unstable since Aunt Rose died. Everyone in the family knows she needs help." I pulled up the video on my phone and turned up the volume. Grandma's voice filled the boutique. "Olivia, honey, I'm recording this because I know Vanessa will try something when I'm gone. The boutique goes to you. The building goes to you. Everything goes to you. You earned it. You cared. Vanessa only ever cared about money." The timestamp showed the date. 3 weeks before Grandma died. Her lawyer, Patricia Summers, sat beside her in the video, nodding. Vanessa's hand trembled as she set down the will. "That doesn't prove anything. I have legal ownership documents filed with the county, filed with forged signatures," I said. "Which is why the police are on their way." That's when she tried to run. But I'd already locked the front door from the inside. The electronic lock I'd installed last month. The one connected to my phone. "Sit down, Vanessa," I said. "We're going to wait together. People always ask me why I didn't fight back sooner. Why I let 6 months pass before confronting her. Here's what they don't understand. I wasn't waiting. I was building a case. When Grandma died from pancreatic cancer last April, I was destroyed. I'd spent 2 years helping her run the boutique while she got weaker. Learning her vendor relationships, memorizing her customers' names and preferences, taking over the buying decisions when she couldn't travel to markets anymore. The day after the funeral, Vanessa showed up at the boutique with a lawyer. She had ownership documents showing Grandma had signed over the business to her 2 months before dying. The signature looked perfect. The notary stamp was official. Everything seemed legitimate. She told me I had 24 hours to remove my personal items. Then she was changing the locks. I was too grief-stricken to fight. I boxed up my stuff and left. But 3 weeks later, I got a call from Patricia Summers, Grandma's real lawyer. She'd been out of the country when Grandma died. She came back to discover Vanessa had used a different lawyer, a friend of hers who'd helped create the fake documents. Patricia had the real will, the one Grandma signed in her office, with 2 witnesses, 3 weeks before she died. It left everything to me. Patricia also had the video. Grandma knew Vanessa well enough to know she'd try to steal the boutique. But Patricia told me something important. We need more than just the will. We need to prove the fraud. Otherwise, Vanessa will claim your grandmother wasn't mentally competent, that she changed her mind, that the video was coerced. So I spent 6 months documenting everything. I befriended Yuki, the boutique's bookkeeper, who still worked there. She started sending me copies of financial records. What we found was worse than I expected. Vanessa had been embezzling since day one. She'd created fake vendor accounts and paid herself through shell companies. Over 6 months, she'd siphoned off $97,000. She'd sold off Grandma's vintage inventory to collectors at a fraction of value. Pieces Grandma had collected for 40 years, worth thousands, sold for hundreds. Another $80,000 in losses. She'd fired the 3 longtime employees who'd known Grandma, replacing them with her friends who wouldn't ask questions. She'd started negotiations with Style Mart Corporate 3 months ago. They wanted to buy the boutique, tear down the historic building, and put in a chain store. The offer was $300,000 for the property and business. Vanessa planned to take the money and disappear. Leave behind the embezzlement evidence for whoever came next to deal with. But she didn't know about the cameras. Grandma had installed security cameras 5 years ago after a break-in. They were hidden in the vintage light fixtures. Most people forgot they were there. I didn't. I'd kept paying the cloud storage subscription after Grandma died. All 6 months of footage was backed up remotely. Footage of Vanessa meeting with her lawyer friend. counting cash from the fake vendor payments, telling her friends about her inheritance from the old lady who finally died. I had her on video, in her own voice, talking about forging documents, laughing about it. The police arrived 12 minutes after I locked the doors. 2 officers I'd already briefed the week before, Detective Maria Torres and Officer James Chen. I'd given them copies of everything. They'd been building the criminal case while I waited for the right moment. The moment when Vanessa would be in the boutique, about to sign final sale papers, thinking she'd won. Vanessa saw them through the glass door and her face changed. The mask dropped. The entitled rich girl expression I'd seen my whole life disappeared, replaced by panic. "Olivia, please," she said. "We can work this out. Family doesn't send family to jail." "You're right," I said. "Family doesn't steal from family. Family doesn't forge dead women's signatures. Family doesn't spit on someone's grave by selling their life's work to a corporate chain." Detective Torres unlocked the front door from outside. I'd given her the override code. "Vanessa Hartwell," she said. "You're under arrest for fraud, forgery, embezzlement, and identity theft." Vanessa looked at the buyer, the real estate agent, like they might help her. They were already leaving through the back entrance. "You can't do this," Vanessa said to me. "I'm your cousin. We grew up together. We barely knew each other," I said. "You came to 3 family dinners a year. You never visited Grandma unless you needed money. You didn't come to her chemo appointments. You didn't hold her hand when she was scared. You didn't earn this boutique. You stole it." Officer Chen was reading Vanessa her rights. She was crying now, mascara running down her face. "My parents will sue you. They'll destroy you." "Your parents already know," I said. "Detective Torres visited them yesterday. They saw the evidence. Your dad said, and I quote, 'We're not defending her this time.' That broke her. She stopped fighting as they cuffed her hands. As they walked her out, she turned back one more time. "You'll never be able to run this place. You don't have Aunt Rose's talent. You'll fail within a year." "Maybe," I said, "but at least I'll fail honestly." They took her to the county jail. I locked the boutique door behind them and sat down in the middle of the showroom floor. The space still smelled like Grandma's perfume. Chanel. Number 5. Her favorite. I looked around at the vintage dresses hanging on velvet-covered hangers, the antique jewelry in glass cases, the shoe collection organized by decade. 43 years of Grandma's passion, her eye for beauty, her relationships with customers who'd shopped here for generations. I pulled out my phone and called Patricia. "It's done," I said. "I'll file the paperwork tomorrow," she said. "The court will reverse the fraudulent ownership transfer. The boutique will be legally yours by next week." "What about the money she stole?" "The DA is pursuing full restitution. Between criminal penalties and civil recovery, we'll get most of it back. It'll take time." I hung up and sat there in the silence. The afternoon sun came through the front windows, creating patterns on the hardwood floor. The same light I'd watched with Grandma on countless slow Tuesday afternoons. My phone buzzed. A text from Yuki. "I heard what happened. I quit this morning before the cops came. If you're taking over, I want my job back. Nobody's better at those books than me." I smiled and texted back. "You never lost it." 3 more texts came in quick succession. From Elena, Marcus, and Diana. The 3 employees Vanessa had fired. They'd all heard through the small business community grapevine. They all wanted to come back. I texted them all the same thing. Monday morning, 9 a.m. Let's rebuild. The arraignment happened 3 days later. I sat in the courtroom gallery while the DA laid out the charges. Fraud, forgery, embezzlement, identity theft. The evidence was overwhelming. Vanessa's lawyer, a public defender since her parents refused to pay for private counsel, tried to argue she'd made mistakes but had no criminal intent. The judge wasn't interested. Bail was set at $75,000. Vanessa's parents didn't post it. She stayed in county jail. The trial took 4 months. I testified for 6 hours over 2 days. I brought the will, the video, the financial records, the security camera footage. Patricia brought the real notary who'd witnessed Grandma's actual will, who testified that the signature on Vanessa's documents was forged. The fake lawyer friend who'd helped Vanessa had already taken a plea deal and testified against her. He admitted to creating the fraudulent ownership documents, forging the notary stamp, and filing the false paperwork with the county. Yuki testified about the embezzlement. She'd kept her own records, knowing something was wrong. She showed how the fake vendor accounts matched deposits in Vanessa's personal banking statements. The security footage played on screens in the courtroom. Vanessa's own voice, talking about the old lady's money, planning to sell the boutique, laughing about how easy it was to fool everyone. The jury deliberated for 90 minutes. Guilty on all counts. Sentencing came 2 weeks later. The judge gave her 7 years in state prison, with possibility of parole after 4. Full restitution of all stolen funds. Permanent ban from handling estates or business matters. Vanessa cried as they led her away. She looked at me one last time, and I saw something I'd never seen before. Genuine remorse. Not for what she'd done, but for getting caught. I didn't feel satisfaction. I felt tired. Outside the courthouse, Patricia put her hand on my shoulder. Your grandmother would be proud. She'd be heartbroken, I said. She loved Vanessa, even though Vanessa never loved her back. She loved you more, Patricia said. That's why she protected you. That's why she made that video. She knew. I went back to the boutique after the sentencing. Elena had opened that morning. Customers were browsing the new spring collection I'd bought at a vintage market in Brooklyn. Diana was helping a regular customer find the perfect dress for her daughter's wedding. Marcus was steaming wrinkles out of a 1950s cocktail dress. Yuki was in the back office, reconciling accounts. She'd found another $30,000 in hidden transactions. More evidence, but the criminal case was closed. This would just help with restitution recovery. I walked through the showroom, touching fabrics, straightening hangers, greeting customers by name. Grandma's customers, now my customers. A woman in her 70s approached me, tears in her eyes. Mrs. Patterson, who'd been shopping at Rose's boutique since 1981. I heard what happened with your cousin, she said. I'm so sorry you had to go through that, but I'm so glad you saved this place. Rose told me you would. She said you were the only one who understood what this boutique meant. It's not just clothes, I said, reciting what Grandma used to tell me. It's memories, Mrs. Patterson finished. It's the dress I wore on my first date with my husband, the suit I wore to my college graduation, the vintage brooch I gave my daughter when she became a mother. She squeezed my hand. Thank you for fighting for those memories. After she left, I went up to the second floor, the space Grandma had used as her office and personal archive. I hadn't changed anything since she died. Her desk was still cluttered with fabric swatches and vendor catalogs. Her reading glasses sat on top of a half-finished letter to a vintage dealer in Paris. I sat in her chair and looked out the window at the street below. The same view she'd had for 43 years. The flower shop across the street, the cafe next door, the old courthouse at the end of the block. I opened her desk drawer and found her planning journal. The one where she sketched ideas for window displays, made notes about customer preferences, dreamed about future collections. The last entry was dated 2 days before she went into hospice. Olivia came by today. She brought soup and sat with me for 4 hours. We didn't talk about the cancer. We talked about the fall collection. She has such good instincts. Better than mine at her age. She sees beauty where others see old cloth. She understands that vintage isn't about the past. It's about preserving what was beautiful and making it relevant again. The boutique will be safe with her. I'm not worried anymore. I closed the journal and let myself cry. Real tears. Not the angry tears I'd cried during the investigation, or the frustrated tears during the trial. These were grief tears. Missing her. Wishing she could see that I'd protected her legacy. My phone rang. A number I didn't recognize. Is this Olivia Bennett? A woman's voice. Professional but warm. Yes. My name is Catherine Winters. I'm a journalist with the Chronicle. I've been following your case. The boutique theft. The fraud trial. I'd like to write a feature story about vintage businesses and family legacy. Would you be interested in talking? I almost said no. I didn't want publicity. Didn't want to be the story. But then I thought about Grandma. How she'd love this boutique not just for herself, but for what it represented. Small businesses surviving in a corporate world. Family legacy mattering more than fast fashion. Quality over quantity. Yes, I said. I'll talk. The article ran 2 weeks later. Front page of the Sunday Lifestyle section. Granddaughter fights corporate greed to save historic boutique. It told the whole story. Vanessa's fraud. The trial. The victory. But it also told Grandma's story. How she'd opened the boutique in 1982 with her divorce settlement money. How she'd built a business on relationships, not transactions. How she'd mentored young designers, supported local artisans, and created a space where women could find clothes that made them feel beautiful. The article included photos. Grandma, in 1982, standing in front of the boutique's original sign. Me now, standing in the same spot with the restored sign. Elena, Diana, Marcus, and Yuki, the team that helped save the business. Within 3 days, we had customers from 3 states away. People who'd read the article and wanted to support us. People who were tired of corporate retail and wanted to shop somewhere that cared. Our revenue increased 40%. Not just from new customers, but from the regulars who came back more often, who bought more, who told their friends. 6 months after Vanessa's sentencing, I received a letter. From prison. Her handwriting on the envelope. I almost threw it away unopened. But curiosity won. Olivia, it said. I don't expect forgiveness. I don't even expect you to read this. But I need you to know that I understand now. I spent 6 months thinking I deserved that boutique because we were blood. Because Aunt Rose was my aunt too. Because family means automatic inheritance. I was wrong. You deserved it because you earned it. You showed up. You cared. You loved her. Not her money. I'm sorry for what I did. I'm sorry for disrespecting her memory. I'm sorry for trying to destroy what she built. I'll spend the next 4 years thinking about that. Maybe longer. I hope you succeed with the boutique. Aunt Rose would want that. Vanessa. I folded the letter and put it in Grandma's desk drawer. Next to her journal. I didn't forgive Vanessa. Maybe I would someday. Maybe not. But I didn't hate her anymore either. She'd stolen from me, lied about me, tried to destroy Grandma's legacy. But she'd also taught me something important. Legacy isn't about blood. It's about love. It's about showing up. It's about protecting what matters. I walk through the boutique every morning before we open. I straighten hangers, adjust lighting, make sure everything is perfect. Not because I'm obsessive, but because Grandma did the same thing every morning for 43 years. I'm not trying to be her. I'm trying to honor her. The boutique is mine now. Legally, officially, permanently mine. But in my heart, it'll always be Grandma Rose's place. I'm just the one who gets to protect it, to grow it, to pass it on someday, to someone who earns it, someone who shows up, someone who cares, someone who understands that a boutique isn't just a business, it's a legacy, and legacy is worth fighting for.